If you have seen the Ross Lyon Uber Eats ad, it probably depicts St Kilda's season and the frustration their senior coaches had to deal with for most of the year. They did finish the season on a high and get some satisfaction, beating Carlton with a final prayer kick from Jack Higgins, although it didn't cost Carlton in the end. Saints fans were bullish coming into 2024, and rightly so. They played a home final last year and had a wave of dynamic players boom out of nowhere. They traded in a few players as well, signalling an intention to win now, but it just hasn't panned out. Issues from 2023 have carried over, and individual players haven't reached their best from last season, let alone improved further. For as bad as it seems St Kilda have performed, they did only win 13 games in 2023 and have still won 11 this year. It hasn't been a disturbing fall away, and in hindsight, maybe the bridge year the club needed. A couple things in terms of results haven't panned out in their favour. St Kilda have been ultra competitive in most of their games. In fact, in games decided by 18 points or less, the Saints have featured surprisingly in 14. It's almost 2/3 of their total matches for 2024. They have 7 wins and 7 losses, which isn't too bad for that amount of tight finishes. 2 of those games were nail-biters against Port Adelaide. One was a close loss to Geelong. They beat Sydney, while another 3 featured Hawthorn, Fremantle, and of course Carlton. They are not miles off the top end of the competition, even though they have clear flaws. But it's something to take away from this year. Momentum has also vanished from St Kilda. They have won only 3 games in a row one time, the final 3 games of the season, and have lost 3 in a row twice. They just haven't been able to build into the year and get a string of wins together to then boost confidence across the board. Sydney, GWS, Hawthorn, the Bulldogs and Port Adelaide have all had hot streaks where they have discovered new positional moves that help them and gained energy in the season. It's a key reason why there's been a bit of negativity and doubt over St Kilda. They have had some great wins here and there, but not a string of them to get everyone excited. Focusing on the ins and outs, one thing St Kilda and Ross have in order is their turnover game. They are 4th in the AFL for scores from turnover and 8th at defending the opposition scoring from turnover. It's not an elite level profile of the scoring source, but is good and a foundation to build on. It's no real surprise either, as we all see the talent of Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira and Jack Sinclair from defence, and the intercepting of Josh Battle and Cal Wilkie. It's what their strength was in 2023 and has carried over this year. They are also in the top half of the competition for disposal efficiency and intercept possessions. The outside of St Kilda's game is in order, and like we saw against Geelong, if they can get flowing and win enough ball, they can do damage. But that's the big if. By far the biggest weakness St Kilda have is the midfield. It's been like that for some time. The club did actively try to fix it through the trade period. They brought in Paddy Dow from Carlton and Liam Henry from Fremantle for some speed and creativity, but it hasn't got going. Dow has been injured for most of the year and basically had no pre-season. Henry was mainly deployed forward, not on a wing, and got injured, while Brad Crouch has been unsighted since round 1. It left a group of Rowan Marshall in the ruck, Jack Steele, Seb Ross, and Marcus Windhager early. However, Windhager, who was tagging, then not tagging, hurt his hamstring in the middle of the season, and cameos from Zach Jones and now Liam Stocker have also been features of late. There just has been no consistency from the on-ball group, both in their performance and its personnel. It's impossible to win a lot of games with the most important part of the field lacking synergy and connection. That's before you throw in the raw talent, which Lyon himself has admitted they just don't have. It's why he talks about curtailing the opposition's best players instead of letting the flair of his own free, especially in the middle of the field. He knows they aren't at the elite level. The good sign is St Kilda knows what their weakness is and did try to resolve it last off-season, and they will do the same until they get it right. Also contributing to the slight decline this season has been some of their individual players. Many analysts, including David King as seen here, predicted the breakout youngsters of 2023 to go to another level, but the stagnation they have shown isn't all that uncommon competition-wide. Mitch Owens went from an 11.12 player rating and 26 goals to just a 7.83 player rating, and at the time of making this, 20 goals. Matthias Philippou has had injury and form issues, but has played strong midfield minutes to finish off the year. Marcus Windhager has improved in his player rating, but couldn't find a settled role either as a defender, on-baller or tagger. Then the elephant in the room is Max King. Only his rookie season saw him put up a lower player rating, and he has only played 23 games in the past 2 years for a return of 47 goals. He is the easy one to scapegoat and point at for the Saints' issues. Talk of a trade has been around, but don't give up on him yet. He has kicked 52 goals in a season already, and his main issue is his body. It's time for him to go hard this off-season and put on weight. He just has to. It will help him compete under the ball and surely lessen his risk for injury. He's only 24, and Saints fans should back him into change going into 2025. If he physically doesn't and is still brittle, then maybe it is time to go. So where does it leave the Saints now? Well, Ross Lyon made it clear a couple weeks ago what their strategy will be. According to experts, this draft is great and 30 deep in top line prospects. Lyon said, 2 drafts we have gone to and will go to the draft again after a period of not drafting a lot of picks. Trying to get picks inside 40 because they are valuable. We've been doing that and will continue that, he said. You've got to be creative, take a little risk, pull all the levers. It's the right thing to do. The Saints have plenty of young talent already, and despite down years, those players will bounce back. Recruiting just hasn't worked out for them in the past 5 or so seasons, so why keep trying to fill out a team with injury-prone players or fringe guys from other clubs? At the time of recording this, the Saints will have roughly pick 6, 25 and 45 in the range Lyon was talking about in his presser. Josh Battle is likely to go to Hawthorn, but only if the compensation is band 1, and if that eventuates, that will also give St Kilda pick 7. Other ways to get in more top 40 selections could be trading out Tim Membry, Hunter Clark, and if they want to be ultra aggressive, Max King would have plenty of suitors. But at least it's the clear strategy St Kilda is rolling with, and the club overall seems to understand where they sit and where they need to improve. Ross is still the boss and knows what he has at his disposal. The outside of their game is solid, but the inside mids and explosiveness in that area of the ground is the clear weak point. Maybe in hindsight, 2024 was the one step back the club needed in order to catapult 2 steps forward. They have all the data they need, and now it's up to list management to draft some gun young mids, the strength and conditioning staff to get Max King right, and coaching to make sure the young players at the club keep progressing well. The Saints are only a few games worse than they were last year, and have still shown against the best they are not miles off the pace.